Thanks for listening to the Red Treehouse, where I tell scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse on your favorite streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Oh, and leave a 5-star review. You can follow the Red Treehouse on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Threads, and Facebook at Red Treehouse Pod. And now, you can find the Red Treehouse on Patreon. Join the Red Treehouse community for as little as $3 per month and receive exclusive member benefits. Simply go to patreon.com/Red Treehouse. As always, if you have a scary story or topic you'd like me to feature on an upcoming episode, email redtreehousepod@gmail.com. Important note: sources for this episode can be found in the show notes. The Red Treehouse is dedicated to my dad. I love you, Pop. As we get closer to Red Treehouse episode 150 in just a few weeks, I've been working on an original short story I'll read to celebrate. The story is loosely based on some experiences I had as a kid and stories I heard growing up. Nostalgia settles in fast when I think about the scary stories I was told out on the front stoop about shadow people, doppelgangers, ghosts, and more. Of the memories I have as a kid, these are some of the best. It got me thinking, I wonder if there are scary games to play that involve a mimic or a doppelganger. I didn't have to search for long to hit the jackpot. In this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're going to explore 3 scary games to play in the dark: how to meet yourself in a parallel world, how to meet a ghost, and the 10-day dream curse. All these games can best be described as summoning rituals, and are guaranteed to keep you up at night. Is it possible these rituals open a portal to a paranormal and supernatural world? And by playing them, are you opening yourself up to potential malevolent spirits whose goal is to haunt you forever? I'll share the details. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Welcome to the Red Treehouse. Our first game is called How to Meet Yourself in a Parallel World. Have you ever wanted to meet yourself in another world? Doppelgangers and mimics are believed to be a harbinger of doom, and in some cases, death. This ritual comes with a warning. It's better not to try it at all than to try and make a mistake. Here's how to play. First, you'll need 2 players to complete this ritual. One player is designated as a jumper. The other is designated as a guide. The jumper is the player who will travel to a parallel world. Once you've decided who's going to be who, you'll also need to gather a few items to perform the ritual correctly. Find a dark, quiet room. Then, find a small light source, a candle, flashlight, or nightlight. Then, find items that make you comfortable. Things like blankets, pillows, comfortable clothing, anything you prefer. And finally, you'll need to think of one question to ask yourself. Once you've gathered these items, you're ready to prepare. An important note: the rules I'm about to share for this ritual should be followed strictly. Once the game begins, the jumper may not speak to the guide. If you're given instructions, you may not verbally acknowledge them, and once you've completed the instructions, you may not verbally acknowledge that you've done so. Another important note: before the game begins, you may work out a non-verbal system of understanding and acknowledgement. For example, you may nod your head when you understand or complete instructions, or shake your head no if you don't understand or fail to complete instructions. After both players have agreed, the game begins. Both players are to enter the dark, quiet room, along with the items you selected. Close the door, and if the room has any windows, be sure to close the blinds or curtains. Then, turn out the lights, and turn on your small light source. This next instruction is for the jumper. Sit or lie down in the room. Make sure you're comfortable. Close your eyes, and breathe calmly and listen carefully. This instruction is for the guide. Sit down in the room near the jumper, but do not lie down or close your eyes. You may now speak to the jumper, tell them a story, and guide them through it. Be sure to speak the story out loud and keep your eyes on the jumper. Remember, they will indicate their understanding and acknowledge completion of instructions with the system you've worked out beforehand. Be sure to give the jumper time to complete the instructions, and do not move ahead until they've indicated completion. To the jumper, listen carefully to the instructions given by the guide. Keep your eyes closed, but in your mind's eye, visualize the world the guide is describing for you. Here's the story script for the ritual. I'll give 4 seconds of time between instructions. An important note: everything that follows is for the guide. As the jumper, you're giving nonverbal acknowledgement of instructions and completion. Instruction 1. You are alone in a dark, empty space. Now find a door in that space through which light is coming out. If you can't find a door by looking around, use your imagination to create a door through which light is coming out. Instruction 2. If you find or make a door, go to the door and put your hand on the handle. When I say 1, 2, 3, open the door and go in. When you open the door and go in, the view you see is a peaceful beach with no one around. Can you see the sea? Instruction 3. Walk to the right from the beach. As you walk, you will see a building. If you see a lighthouse, a cabin, a villa, or any other type of building, go to the front of the building. Instruction 4. Have you arrived at the front of the building? If you are in front of the building, please go around the building 3 times and stand in front of the entrance. Place your hand on the entrance handle. Once again, I will count to 1, 2, 3, and then open the door and come in. Instruction 5. Open the door and go into the building. There is a table on one side. There is an old telephone on the table. Did you find the telephone? Instruction 6. Pick up the telephone. Pick up the phone and dial 984-674. Did the call connect? We'll pause here as I give some important instructions. There are 3 options for what happens next. Pay close attention. If the call is not connected, or the caller is unavailable, then the guide says, it means that I cannot meet myself in another parallel world. Exit the building again, and go around 3 times in the opposite direction from where I came. Then, imagine a dark state. Just like when I entered in the dark, find a door with light coming out and place your hand on the doorknob. When I say 1, 2, 3, open the door and open your eyes. If the call is connected and a person answers, the guide is to say this: if there is someone on the phone, do not answer or make a sound. The other person is not your parallel world self. It is dangerous to meet your parallel world self, so I will return. I cannot guarantee what will happen to you, so calmly put down the phone and turn around. If the building you are currently in is a 1-story building, use your imagination to create a way to the 2nd floor and go there. Have you arrived on the 2nd floor? Once you arrive on the 2nd floor, find an open door and go in. Ignore closed doors. And if it is a 1-room apartment, you do not need to leave the room. There is a dresser in the room. If you see the dresser, stand in front of the door and place your hand on the handle. When you say 1, 2, 3, open the dresser and go in, and open your eyes at the same time. If the call is not connected, but you hear a signal, clicking, or other strange sound, then the guide is to say this: put the phone back down and exit the building. When you come out, there is a path and a new building on the opposite side. If you see the building, go to the front of that building. Have you arrived at the front of the building? If you have, this time do not open the door yourself and go in. Find the bell next to the door and press it. And if someone welcomes you inside, go in. Do not talk to the person who welcomes you at this time, and think carefully about one question to ask. The person who opened the door here is your other world self. Enter the house and move together to the place where the owner of the world guides you. When you stop moving, listen to the question you thought of and listen to the answer. After hearing the answer, give a signal. Once you've heard the answer to your question, say goodbye and go out the door you came in from and walk down the way you started, passing the house you first entered. As you approach the beach, find the footprints in the sand where you first stood, and stand with your feet together. Then, imagine a pitch-black darkness. Find the door with light coming in from the doorframe and place your hand on the handle. After I count to 3, open the door and open your eyes. A few important details for this ritual. This game can be played at any time of day, though playing at night helps ensure no sunlight will get into the room. While in the parallel world, it is possible you will meet someone who may not belong there. The person may identify themselves as administrator or guardian. They will guide you to a door. Follow them. When you reach the door, Open it and open your eyes. The ritual is now over. If you meet someone else, not the administrator or guardian, it is important that you continue moving as quickly as possible. Look around you for a small box. Once you find the box, open it, and you'll find a red object. Throw this object at the figure, which will buy you some time. Immediately after throwing the object, create a dark space in your mind and find the door with the light coming from the door frame. Open the door and open your eyes. The ritual is now over. It is possible you may feel some kind of disturbance while in the parallel world. As the guide, pay close attention to the jumper. If they stop acknowledging your instructions, or are no longer acknowledging completion, it's possible they are dealing with a disturbance. Pay close attention, because what you do next could be the difference between safety and the jumper getting lost in the parallel world. First, hold the jumper's right hand with your right hand. Place your left hand on the jumper's forehead. Say the following number out loud: 4, 7, 6, 4, 8, 9. Then, pull the jumper to bring them through the door and have them open their eyes. If the jumper moves and opens their eyes, they've successfully concluded the ritual. If not, they may be lost forever. Our second game is called How to Meet a Ghost. There is no shortage of ghost meeting rituals out there, and each one guarantees to work. Though I won't make the same claim, this ritual is particularly scary because while the details are clear on how to summon a ghost, there's no foolproof way to ensure you can send them out. Here's how to play. First, only one player can play at a time. If you're brave enough for this ritual, you'll also need a few items to perform the summoning correctly. First, you'll need salt, a lot of it. Then you'll need a knife or a blade. You'll need a black blindfold, a watch or clock. You'll need to find an empty room that locks from the outside, and a second room to wait in. Once you've gathered these items, you're ready to prepare. First, when it is just before 2 a.m., stand or sit in the doorway to the empty room. The door should be open and the lights turned off. Place the salt, knife, and blindfold within arm's reach. Pay close attention to the time. At exactly 2 a.m., turn off every other light around you. Then go back to the doorway of the empty room. Close the door and tie the blindfold around your eyes. An important note: you must not be able to see or peek through the blindfold. Once the prep work is completed, you're ready to begin the summoning. First, place a small amount of salt in your left hand and do not allow any to spill. Then, grab the knife and hold it in your right hand. Take a deep breath. Then with your left hand, knock on the closed door 3 times. Remember to keep the blindfold on and avoid spilling the salt. Ask out loud, "Is anyone there?" With your left hand, knock 3 more times on the closed door and ask out loud, "Is anyone there?" And for a third time, with your left hand. Knock 3 more times on the closed door and ask out loud, "Is anyone there?" Now wait, silently. If you hear nothing, say out loud, "If now is not a good time, I will wait until you are ready." Then, go to the second room, sit cross-legged on the floor, and wait. Keep the salt in your left hand. Do not remove the blindfold or spill the salt. If you still hear nothing, the ritual has failed. Put down the knife, remove the blindfold, and wipe the salt from your hands. Turn on the lights, but keep the door closed and lock it from the outside until dawn. But if you hear the door open, you may proceed to the greeting. When you hear the door open, remove the blindfold and say out loud, "Hello." You may now commune with whatever spirit is there, at your own risk. A few important details. There is no specific way to end the ritual. Try saying goodbye, but do so politely. There is no way of knowing what kind of spirit you're summoning. Just because you'd like to summon a kind spirit doesn't mean you'll get one. Remember, evil spirits are masters of deception, so just because it starts out friendly doesn't mean it'll end that way. And finally, it is possible the spirit refuses to leave. Just because you ask it nicely doesn't mean it will follow your instructions. Our third and final game is called the 10-Day Dream Curse. As the name suggests, this ritual takes nearly 2 weeks to play, with very specific rules to follow. The goal is unclear, except the level of difficulty is high, so completing the ritual is a reward. Just be sure you don't mess up. Here's how to play. Only one player can play at a time. You'll also need to gather a few items to perform the ritual correctly. First, you'll need to find a quiet place to sleep. And second, you need the ability to lucid dream. Although in a few places I read, this part is optional. You will have dreams for 10 consecutive nights. Each night, you must follow a specific rule or complete a specific action within these dreams. It's important that you follow the rules and complete the action. An important note: wait until dark to go to sleep. Night 1. In your first dream, you will see yourself in your bed, in your bedroom, trying to fall asleep. Look out the window of your bedroom. Do you see a girl looking in at you? Your first night's rule is to let her into your room. Night 2. In your second dream, you will see yourself in your bed, in your bedroom, trying to fall asleep. The girl from the night before is now inside your room with you. Though she is face forward, her eyes will be looking down, with her hair covering her face. Listen carefully. Do you hear what she's saying? It sounds like a single word. Please. Your second night's rule is to let her lie down next to you. Night 3. In your third dream, you will see yourself in your bed, in your bedroom, trying to fall asleep. The girl will be lying in your bed next to you. You can now see her face, and you notice she has burn injuries all over. Your third night's rule is to look at her face. Do not speak or make any noise. Night 4. In your fourth dream, you will see yourself in your bed, in your bedroom, trying to fall asleep. The girl will be lying in your bed next to you, staring at you. You will get up out of bed, and the girl will say, "Let's go to the park." Your fourth night's rule is to take the girl to the park. Do not speak or make any noise. Night 5. In your fifth dream, you will see yourself at the park with the girl. When you get to the park, you'll notice something strange. A cat pushing a stroller, with the dog sitting inside. Your fifth night's rule is to destroy either the cat or the dog. Night 6. In your sixth dream, you will see yourself at the park with the girl. As you look around, you'll notice an airship parked on the grass. Your sixth night's rule is to board the airship with the girl before it leaves. Night 7. In your seventh dream, you will see yourself on the airship with the girl. You'll also notice the airship is full of people. Your seventh night's rule is to find a seat on the airship. Make sure you find a seat, no matter what it takes. Night 8. In your eighth dream, you will see yourself on the airship with the girl. Suddenly, red and black roses begin to fall on you. Your eighth night's rule is to throw the black roses overboard the airship. Only the black roses. Night 9. In your ninth dream, you will see yourself on the airship with the girl. You'll notice the airship will dock in the same park you first saw it. Your ninth night's rule is to exit the airship and return to your home with the girl. When you arrive at home, return to your bedroom and lie down on your bed. Make sure the girl lies down next to you. Night 10. Only after following the rules the 9 previous nights will you learn what happens on night 10. Your 10th night's rule is to share this story with another person. An important note: completing the 10 consecutive nights is not an easy task, even for an experienced lucid dreamer. So try this at your own risk. Failure to complete a rule on a given night, or experiencing a break in the dreams, may leave the player lost between the real world and the dream world. Or should I say, in the middle of a nightmare. I'll admit, for me, these games sound more fun than scary. Though I also think the scariest game is how to meet yourself in a parallel world. I have an innate fear of doppelgangers and mimics, so the possibility of doing a ritual to meet myself in another world is pure nightmare fuel. What about you? Which game scares you the most? As we close this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're left with these lingering questions. Is it possible these rituals open a portal to a paranormal and supernatural world? And by playing them, are you opening yourself up to potential malevolent spirits, whose goal is to haunt you forever? I'll share the details. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.